What's up, guys? This is Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our Week 7 match of the DnD or Dunsparces and Dragonites. This week we are taking on my fellow Canadian Morgan and the Canada Cryogonals. We are the only two Canadians in Championship, and then Gareth and Aquiasa are the other two Canadians in the league, but they are both in the Premiership. This is going to be a really tough match. I'm not going to lie. I think this is likely my hardest match of the season. I think my team had a very poor matchup going up against Morgan's, and my plans never work. So we'll see how this goes, especially because she brought the Ditto. I'm really scared of the Ditto. Amoonguss, her not bringing Amoonguss makes a ton of sense to me because Mega Medicham shows up, but let me just run through her team so that this makes a lot more sense. She is Sylveon, Arcanine, Amoonguss, Miltank, Noctowl, Excadrill, Kingdra, Ditto, Uxie, Rabombi, and Alolan Raichu. The only Pokemon I was not expecting whatsoever is Noctowl. I think Noctowl had a absolutely horrendous matchup against my team. Zapdos kind of tore it to shreds. It's really slow, and so my wall breakers could take it down really easily or just set up on it. I'm a little bit surprised to not see the Miltank, although it is weak to Mega Medicham. I'm very surprised to not see the Sylveon, because Sylveon can deal with Mega Medicham pretty well, although Scolipede deals with it. Amoonguss, again, Mega Medicham deals with. She brought a very good team to deal with Mega Medicham. The Uxie is probably her main switch into it. I'm expecting like webs from Rabombi turn 1. Now that I see that, she's brought Critdra before, so I'm kind of expecting that. Excadrill could be Scarfed? I don't know. She doesn't really bring Scarf stuff a lot, so I'm not entirely sure on that one. Ditto, fuck, I hate Ditto. Ditto could be a massive problem for my team. I talked about this in my team builder as well, I think, but there's no good way to prep for Ditto. There's no good way to prep for Ditto unless you're scarfing something yourself and have Ditto copy your Scarfer. I didn't bring any Scarfers this week, so that could be bad. Thoughts on other things? Oh, Arcanine is a free switch in for Chandelure. That thing cannot touch me unless unless she has Crunch. That's the only way that Arcanine can touch my Chandelure, and I'll get a Flash Fire boost off of it every single time. Especially if we see the Intimidate, I'm kind of free to just throw off a Flamethrower as long as Kingdra's dead, because Kingdra will 4 times resist it regardless of the Flash Fire. And yeah, well, actually no, Ditto is a thing too, so Shadow Ball's going to be my play pretty much all the time, even if I'm getting the Flash Fire, it's just switching in on something. She has Webs in Rabombi, Rocks in Uxie, and Excadrill potentially, priority with Extreme Speed from Arcanine potentially, and potentially Spin on Excadrill and Defog on Rabombi as removal options, and Morgan has nothing 4 times weak to anything, so we're not using anything like that. If you haven't seen my team builder, you should check it out, but I am physically defensive Ferrothorn, mixed defensive Togekiss, pretty standard Mega Medicham, we're Banded Zygarde 10, we're Life Orb Chandelure, and we're Poisonium Z Scolipede. So I'm going to lead with my Togekiss, thinking she's going to lead with Rabombi, and then I can get an Air Slash off. So that's what I do as she goes into Rabombi, and now she's going to double into Ditto to copy me, and this chip is kind of big to get on the Ditto. There's no Wish Passers on this team, so any chip I can get on the Ditto is good. If she wants to go for Roost here, that's her prerogative, but I'm actually going to go, now that she sees my set, maybe she thinks I'm going for the Thunder Wave because of the Scarf Ditto, and then I don't really need to worry about Ditto anymore for the rest of the game. She predicts that really well and goes into Excadrill here. We see the Mold Breaker. I'm not surprised. I don't have Sands. The Sand abilities are useless. I go into Ferrothorn, which is my check to this, and we see Sub. This could be really bad, but now we know she probably doesn't have Rapid Spin, so Rabombi is the only defogger that she brought if I get my own Hazard up at some point. Yeah, because Sub usually carries SD and then dual stab, so we don't have to worry about that. She has to hit me with Earthquake here because Iron Head's going to do nothing. I'm actually going to knock off and break the Sub as she goes to the Earthquake, and we see how little that does. Get some recovery with my leftovers as well, and we're sitting in a reasonably okay health. Arcanine comes out here as I go for another knockoff, get rid of this thing's leftovers. That does a lot for -1. So this reasonably specially defensive Arcanine for the most part. My switch into Arcanine is always Chandelure. I don't think she's going to predict that with a Crunch anyways. And by any means, if she didn't know that Chandelure had Flash Fire, then I have no good fire resist on this team. So she's going to go for the fire move as I go into Chandelure here. and we eat that and take the Flash Fire boost. Now I'm going to go for Shadow Ball, and it turns out this Kingdra is very defensive based on that damage. Very defensive Kingdra. Any normal Kingdra probably would have died. I'm not going to lie. Kingdra is not the bulkiest of Pokemon. It's got base 95s, so it's okay. But well, actually, they're pretty good defenses. But Chandelure is a monster, and this is a modest max special attack Life Orb Chandelure Shadow Ball. Like, I expected it to do a little bit more damage than that. Chandelure is still a huge threat to her team. Togekiss is kind of my Spit-F wall, and I'm expecting Hydro Pump to do about 30 to me if I'm Togekiss. So I'm going to go into Togekiss here. We see the leftovers, so confirms, again, defensive variant. That Skull does nothing. Again, defensive variant. The Burn is a pain in the ass, but it's not the worst. It's just going to limit my leftovers recovery for the rest of the game. And unfortunately, Morgan keeps healing with the leftovers here, which is pretty bad for me. Now, we've seen that her switch in to my Togekiss is Excadrill. I don't know why she went for this play overall. I think I made the smart decision, although it was a misplay in the moment. Yeah, I'm going to double out into Zygarde, thinking she's going to double into Excadrill, because then I just get a free 1,000 arrows off and something pretty much dies. Yeah, so that's my play, is going to Zygarde here. So I go into Zygarde, and she stays in, and I'm like, okay then. And there's the Ice Beam. The crit did not matter whatsoever. That thing was doing like 150% to my Zygarde anyways. Kind of just a random sack on my part. And at this point, it might look like I'm just playing like a monkey. But I didn't think she was going to click Ice Beam. Like, Ice Beam's not going to touch my Togekiss anyways. Based on the Skull damage we saw, Ice Beam wasn't even doing half to my Togekiss, so I'm not sure why. But misplay on my part overall. I should have expected the Ice Beam, to be honest. Yeah, I didn't think about it, and there goes Zygarde. Now, it's not the biggest deal in the world, because I can go to Medicham here and get a Fake Out off. Get my Mega Evolution off too, which is kind of important for some extra bulk. That damage shows us that she is very physically defensive. It's actually a roll if this Zen Headbutt will kill. She could go into Uxie here right now and preserve her Kingdra, but I'm going to go for the Zen Headbutt anyways, because it's going to do a ton of damage to that. And we actually hit it, and we get the roll, so we kill off the Kingdra. Now the Uxie comes out. I can't touch this thing anyways. I'm going to go into my Chandelure, which has Shadow Ball, and she knows it. She's actually going to go for the T-Wave, so I'm glad that I brought in Chandelure over Medicham, because Medicham getting T-Wave could have been really bad. Chandelure's already a reasonably slow Pokemon, and I wasn't speed creeping anything with Chandelure, so it doesn't matter. Now something has to take a Shadow Ball, though. She's going to opt into Arcanine taking the Shadow Ball, and it takes a chunk. Like we said, it's a very defensive Arcanine with... yeah, it's very defensive Arcanine. Now I'm going to go into something to take this crunch, and I believe it's... I don't remember what it is. I was predicting the crunch, and I wanted a Medicham. She goes for Bombi. So, I don't know what she was doing there. I could have just clicked Shadow Ball again. Arcanine can't really... Realistically, it needs crunch to touch Chandelure. It can't touch me with anything else. So I wasn't sure if she was like sacking Rabombi or something there. Maybe she's like Sash Rabombi, and that's kind of the whole deal. But again, Rabombi can't really touch Chandelure either. So my play should have been to stay in with Chandelure. That was a misplay on my part. I doubled into Medicham to take the crunch because I knew I would take it. I'm going to click Fake Out, not knowing what Sweet Veil does. Sorry, Shield Dust does. Prevents the secondary effects. So I do a ton of damage, but I could have knocked this thing out like a Zen Headbutt if I'd known that, and I wouldn't have clicked Fake Out. I honestly thought she'd be like Sweet Veil, because I know what Sweet Veil does. It blocks like Taunt and stuff like that. It's basically Oblivious, and then she would get Webs up for sure, which benefit her team greatly. But instead, she has the Shield Dust, and the Bug Buzz does quite a bit of damage to me. We can see that that is not modest, and it's not a boosting item. Based on that damage, it's probably Timid, because she would have to run Timid to outrun something like a Zygarde 10%. And yeah, that's kind of the dealio there. Now I need to switch, and Togekiss is going to take like 6% from the Spoke Buzz based on the calc. It's 4 times resisted. There's no way it's doing anything. Yeah, it literally does nothing. Just brings me down to 78 after the burn. She has to be scared of my Air Slash here. She really does. She has to be scared of the Air Slash. I think I just go for it, honestly. I can't remember what I do here. Yeah, she goes Uxie, and I go Ferrothorn, actually. So she knows the air slash is coming out. I really thought she was going to go into Excadrill like over and over again because Excadrill is kind of like a good switch into Togekiss. Uxie would not have wanted to take that air slash, I'm not going to lie. But I bring in Ferrothorn here. I'm going to go for the Leech Seed this turn as she actually doubles into Ditto to take my Leech Seed, and it's going to do nothing. Spike would have been a good play there, or knocking off the Ditto would have been a good play there as well. I'm going to get up a Spike this turn as she's going to knock off. I should have knocked off this turn, but Spike overall is going to help in the long run. Now I'm going to go for the knockoff as she goes into Arcanine. It takes the Spike damage plus the knockoff and it's going to die. Unfortunately, she got the Intimidated off, but that's fine. Just means that her Excadrill can come in for free here, which is pretty bad for me. So Excadrill comes in. I have to double out. I'm going to go into my Medicham. Not thinking, to be honest. I knew she was going to go for the sub, but I wasn't thinking. Because Fake Out apparently doesn't flinch through sub. So today I learned that Fake Out doesn't flinch through sub. I'm going to double back into Ferrothorn here, as I believe she's Swords Dance? No, she Iron Heads this turn, so she's going to take some Iron Barbs recoil. That means that she's limited to one sub after I break it with a knockoff here. She gets the SD while she still can. Yeah, so there goes the sub, and now she goes into another one. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to break your sub again. And now I go for the kill, and she's going to kill me with the Earthquake. +2 Earthquake did kill me all the time there. Medicham can Fake Out and kill this thing now. The problem is that Ditto can come in now. Worst case scenario, pretty much. The Ditto comes in. By far the worst case scenario. I don't know what would have been a good case scenario. Honestly, because Ditto is just such a pain in the ass for my own team to handle. Because I have so many good threats on my team that Ditto turns my team against me, and it's really bad. I don't know what she's going to go for here, honestly. I think, in my mind, she might have clicked Drain Punch, but realistically, she had to click Zen Headbutt because it was the only thing that was going to kill my own Medicham, based on the moves that I had. So I'm going to go into Chandelier here and sack it. It's paralyzed, it's slower than the Rabombi. It'd be great for the Uxie later, and if by some miracle I live this Zen Headbutt, it would be fantastic to get a Shadow Ball off and her miss or something. But I basically just sacked the Chandelier here. It's kind of the least useful member. In hindsight, Scolipede was maybe the least useful member. But what are you going to do? I can go into something here. I go into Togekiss. I live the Zen Headbutt. I knew I would live the Zen Headbutt, and I can go for the Air Slash, hopefully killing the Ditto. I don't. I crit the Uxie. We see that as not specially defensive invested Uxie, so I'm imagining that it's physically defensive. I can go for a T-Wave here. So I'm going to go for a T-Wave here and try and para-flinch this thing to death. The Psychic does nothing. Again, no investment, but the Spit-F drop is really annoying. And, of course, I missed the Thunder Wave. Not the biggest deal that I missed the Thunder Wave there. I've been para-haxing people in this league all season long, and Karma's biting me in the ass with that Thunder Wave miss. I'm going to go for it again, because I need this Uxie slower than my Togekiss. I need it slower. So there we go. Now I'm going to Roost, because I need to be at a good amount of health for the Ditto coming in, if it ever comes in later. That's the play. Paralyzed, fully parried on the Uxie, it's perfect for me. I'm going to Air Slash it down to a low enough, para-flinch this thing down low enough so that my Scolipede can come in. Yeah, there's the flinch. Now I'm going to double into Scolipede. I know I can take a Psychic, and I'm hoping I can get behind a sub. That's my play. I didn't realize she was just going to go for it. Like, I don't know what other moves this Uxie has, but I figured she'd like try and knock off my leftovers or something. She actually just like hard goes with the Psychic again. It's not doing anything to my Togekiss. It was an interesting play. This was my play. 100% of the time I had to go into Scolipede here because I didn't want Ditto copying my Togekiss. Okay, so when Ditto comes in to revenge me, I want it copying my Scolipede. That's 100% the play. Scolipede's doing nothing for the rest of the game. I'm going to just claim my kill with this and get my speed boost. Unfortunately, the Ditto gets the speed boost as well because it's a Scarfer and it copies me. I go for the Acid Downpour here. I don't really care what she wants to go for because I can go into Togekiss afterwards and hopefully finally deal with this Ditto. She just goes for the Poison Jab to kill me. Doesn't really matter. Togekiss lives this Poison Jab. Barely, but we do. We always live this Poison Jab if she wants to go for the Poison Jab, and then we can get rid of the Ditto. That's kind of best case scenario. Because then I can Roost on the Rabombi. Yeah, that's my play, is to go for the Air Slash here because she's going to... I'm always going to live the Poison Jab for myself. So, I go for the air splash. She sacks the Rabombi here. That's perfectly okay. The biggest thing now is that Ditto takes the spikes damage before it transforms into me. So it's at 15%. I've won this game. At this point, I've won the game. The fact that it copied my Togekiss is the best case scenario for me because I have Fake Out on the back on Medicham, which will kill this thing at this range. I'm going to try and break through to kill it for differential. It doesn't really matter. At this point, actually, it was only the first time I clicked Air Slash, I think. Now I'm clicking Roost. She's just going to use my own strat against me and flinch me to death with Togekiss. And then I'm going to bring in Medicham, and we'll pick up the win with the... actually, she crits me on this last one, doesn't she? Yeah, she crits me. So we'll never know if I could have won 2-0 because of that crit. Oh well. Medicham comes in here and gets the fake out kill. I think Medicham picked up like 3 kills that game. Pretty solid game for Mega Medi. Really unfortunate play on my part with the Zygarde. Morgan has such a threatening team. Like, despite the fact that it looks meh overall, there's a lot of bulk on there, and Ditto is just a pain in the ass, honestly, against her team, because against her team you need to set up to break down her walls, unless you have Mega Medicham, which is a fantastic wall breaker, Chandelure, etc. Like, my team has really good wall breakers on it, so I had a good overall matchup, but I played poorly, and she played really well with Ditto. All the props in the world to Morgan. We moved to 6-1 plus 13. I'm really looking forward to continuing our winning streak. We're on a 6-game winning streak now in the league after losing week 1. Next week we take on Mr. Superstar and the Milwaukee Whoopers. That'll be a fun game. He's got a really threatening, scary team as well, so we'll see how well this goes for us next week. Yeah, that's all from me, and I will catch you guys later.